welcome into the Questionable Podcast. You got Scotty Questions here with Meko.
What's good, man?
What up, man? And
Nothing much.
no, Gian.
We are Gion-less
Boo.
today. Parenthood, man.
Boo.
Parenthood's getting them early, but
Early.
hey, that's what it's all about. We were luckily prepared, and uh, you know, Gian gave us plenty of heads up, and we kind of just knew like this was going to be the way things are
For a little bit. For a
for a
little
little
bit.
bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
For a
until
little
they get their bearings. Until they get their bearings, and then everybody's able to just kind of do everything and be a parent kind of like on autopilot. This is just the way it'll be on a couple weeks.
Yep, it's all good. But it's back to the original, the
Yeah,
OG right here. You got us
yeah.
here. So welcome in. Please like, follow, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Also head over to questionabletees.com to check out and grab some of the coolest Detroit sports teams merch out there.
Especially while they're winning. Like grab it
Wow,
while they're
they're winning.
grab it while they're
And,
winning.
and speaking of that,
Let's go. I said the Lions won a game. Man, we going all the way. Baby. We about to celebrate. Why? Because the Lions won a game.
they did. And the
They
Lions did come back to beat Chicago 31-30 at Soldier Field. They got the monkey off their back in regards to losing on the road. So
Yeah.
congrats to the team on that. Also, it's the biggest comeback since I think 1995, being down 14 plus points
Yep.
for
I
the
think it was
Lions.
actually 93. This is the first time they've come
93?
back. Yeah. So it's been a minute.
Oof.
That felt weird. Like to say though, like 93, like I'm assuming on the road, right? Like, because I feel like the Lions had a couple like big comebacks at Ford Field where like they were down by like double digit scoring and then came back and won games. But I don't know. Maybe I'm like
I think they came back to almost win, right?
I don't know. Like I don't know. Like that's the crazy thing about like there was that stretch of when the Lions were just coming back from like every game and like kind of winning games with Matthew Stafford, where it's like you kind of like the deficit kind of just like blurs together. Like I'm never
That's
quite sure
true.
like how far down they were. We just knew they were behind.
They were always behind, and then they would then Stafford would march down the field in a game-winning drive. I do, yeah. So regardless, they win back-to-back wins, division wins.
Yep.
There's a lot to talk about here. There's a lot to talk
What,
about.
what was your initial reaction? Like
So just
double like
like
zeros hit the clock and it's like 31-30, like that's
shocked,
the game.
I was shocked. I go, no way. I was in disbelief. I was in disbelief that we were also in we lined up in the taking a knee, like winning
Yeah.
formation like that. When was the last time we did that? Like, I
Yeah,
don't know that we've done that in Dan Campbell's tenure.
no, for sure. I mean, maybe
Maybe.
they did it against Washington, maybe, but I mean, yeah,
Don't
definitely
remember.
wasn't. Yeah, but definitely wasn't against Green Bay last week. Last week they needed to get a defensive stop. They had to do the same thing this week. Defense had to get a late stop and then get the ball back to the offense so that they could knee it.
That's and that's the other thing. People are saying, yeah, the defense won the game, but here's the thing: the offense got that first down. Like Jamal got that first down. I mean, he did get that. They did get that first down.
No, he absolutely did. I can't remember how much time was on the clock, but like it was like if the Bears had got it back,
It was like
I think the Lions were
seconds.
able to kick they would have been able to
Under a
kick a
minute.
field goal. Yeah, they would have been able to kick a field goal. It would have been like 34-30. And
If they make the field goal, if we make the field goal, though.
I mean, and listen, I'm
just saying.
New kicker has been consistent thus far, so I'm gonna keep having faith until he proves us otherwise.
Bagger.
Yeah. But no, that was I mean, it was a crazy up and down game. I mean, I was kind of the same way, like a little bit in shock that they actually pulled it off. But I kind of like settled into it once the Bears got the ball and they were like they had the potential to go on that game-winning drive. I was just like, I don't think Justin Fields can do it. Just considering how they had been beating us all game, it's like they've basically been beating us by Justin Fields' legs and then like just a couple broken coverage plays. But it's like if they can kind of just lock it down and he's gonna have to make throws to get down the field, like I don't think he can do it. And turns out he couldn't.
You're right. He couldn't. And because he had time. He had lots of
Hmm.
time.
Well,
So
and I think it becomes a thing of this is kind of like the double-edged sword of having a mobile quarterback is that if they start running early, it feels like quarterbacks that start running early and often like get comfortable in that mode and it becomes much more difficult for them to dial it back and be like, okay, survey the field and make throws.
that's fair.
Um because that's kind of what it just seemed like Justin Fields didn't do. Like he was getting kind of used to just like, okay, standing back, letting pressure like kind of eventually get to him, and then he would just escape out the backside because he was just more athletic than everybody on our defensive line.
Yeah, and he was for most of the game, but the end, but at the end, we were able to contain him, and that's I think my big takeaway, right? So it was disbelief, and I was like, wow, it's like wow, they did it. No way,
Hmm.
I didn't think so. Um, and to that point, I'm gonna have to go again with the Giants this week. I'm superstitious now. I got to pick the other teams every time. I got to pick them, and so I know the Giants that'll be a tough game. I don't think we win on the road, regardless, but I'm still gonna go with them superstition just in case.
Yeah. No, I mean, we'll talk about it later in the show as far as like what could potentially go on with the Giants game. But I mean, looking at this game, I mean, first half was kind of back and forth. A lot of Justin Fields just kind of again breaking us with long runs, extending plays, allowing guys to get open, guys in the secondary having to cover all day.
Well, yeah,
And
yeah. Go ahead.
the thing that was crazy is like watching that game, I never felt like the Lions game plan was the problem. Like I just didn't I think like Gion's not here, but like we kind of had like an exchange back and forth where he kind of was like, he's getting kind of frustrated with AG. And I'm like, I just kind of think like this is a personnel issue. Like you don't have the personnel to handle a mobile quarterback. And Dan Campbell kind of said as much. Like, for one, the Lions don't have anybody on their roster to simulate a Justin Fields. And then
Right.
on top of that, you don't have like very quick and athletic linebackers that can just like shadow and contain him in the event that like, he does break contain and gets out on the edge. Like you have nobody that's keeping up with him. I mean, we saw him run away from the secondary on that long touchdown run that put them up 30-24. Like he just kind of has that level of athleticism that you don't have on your defense right now. Um, but even then, like it always felt like this was one of the few times watching the Lions that I felt like they were still kind of in it. It just like it never felt like it was too far away.
Yeah, that's it. It felt to me, it felt too far away when they went up. When they went up, was it 24-10?
Yeah. So when they won that, yeah, once they went up by 14,
Third
yeah.
third quarter, they were
Hmm.
destroying us. Right. I mean, a number. Right. We've given up 80 third quarter points this
Yeah, that's
season.
rough.
That's terrible. Our third quarters are horrible. The coaches need to get a handle on that. Like keep the team on the field or something. Who knows?
Well, I think what makes it worse though is like they are giving up that many points, but they're not getting that many points. Right? Like this
Right.
offense always seems to stall out in the third quarter. And
Or
that's
Goff
what ends up
gave
yeah, and that
turnover. He didn't this week, but because he got bailed out with a
he
flag.
got he got bailed out on a really, really bad throw. I don't necessarily have a problem with the read, but the throw was terrible.
Not a good throw. Not a good throw. Now, speaking of Jared Goff, he had a pretty solid day though. I mean, his QBR was over 100. I think. I mean, he had good numbers. So I rewatched the recap condensed, right, on
Yeah.
NFL the app, which is great by the way for those that don't know. But he threw the ball well. I mean, he had a couple ducks, but overall when he had to deliver it, there's a couple really good throws and I think like we talked about, Miko, I believe that the players stepped up in the moments they needed to. I don't think it was an overall great game,
Yeah.
but when guys need to make a play, they did. When the O line really needed to protect Goff to deliver that ball to Kennedy for 45 yards, right, to get to set us up for that touchdown. I mean,
Yeah.
they did. Um, and Kennedy to be able to make that play, Khalif Raymond to make that catch. I mean, Goff throwing the ball pretty well. Um, and Jamal ran well, and Jackson. I thought Jackson had a pretty solid game too. He got some tough yards that we typically see Jamal getting. He got in there and he got a couple big, hit a couple big plays. I thought he played well. And
Yeah,
Amon-Ra, I mean, again, after hurting his ankle again, he goes back in, misses the play, goes back in, and has that toss sweep. Is that what that is? Where they
yeah,
just tossed
yeah,
when he ran. I mean, he almost got the TD. Jamal punched it in, but no, the guys stepped up, and I feel like we stole the game. Like I think Jeremy said this. It was last time we heard the Lions like stealing games when typically they get stolen from us. Like I really do. It's an interesting way to put it. It's like
yeah.
I stole a couple games. It's like showed up
Well,
at the right time and yeah, and won.
yeah, no, this felt very different than the Packers game where last week I think we both were kind of in agreement like neither team looked good, but somebody had to win the game and it
Right.
just so happened to be the Lions.
Right.
Um this didn't feel like that. To your point, it did feel like the players really stepped up in those very clutch moments and whether it was doing just enough to hang around in the first half, but then like really stepping up and shining, whether it's, you know, you look at the interception, the pick six that Jeff has,
Oh,
and
Kuda.
yeah, and Hutch kind of like forcing Fields into that
Dude, Hutch had a good
really
game.
terrible.
Yeah, we didn't
Yeah,
even talk about it. We'll talk about the defense in a minute. I was just talking offense, but the D they had some moments, man.
yeah. So this very much felt more like the players taking advantage of a team and really rising to the occasion. Like I said last week, like I actually got into it with Luke on his show about
Luke, what up, Luke?
shout out to Luke. But yeah, he and I got into a little like well, not just he and I, but a couple people on
The
his show got
group.
into like this just back and forth on being apologetic about the Packers win. And it's like seeing this one makes me feel more confident about my stance in that one because this felt more like your players rising to the occasion, like the entire team rising to the occasion instead of just one unit kind of dragging the other unit along. Last week it was
Totally.
very much last week it was
I
very
agree.
much the defense dragging the offense along
Yep.
and giving them enough time to put points up, whereas this was very much a concerted like team effort of offense and defense, um, rising to the occasion and putting the Bears in very uncomfortable situations, and the defense finally getting to a point where they were finally like containing Justin Fields well. Like I said, I didn't have a problem with the game plan. I think the game plan was solid. You're
No,
trying to keep him in the pocket. You're trying to
I mean, he's one of the faster guys, faster quarterbacks. I mean, him, Lamar, I mean, Jalen Hurts, like those three dudes are like I mean, to me,
yeah, no, they're
yeah,
electric with
Fields
yeah.
destroyed Okuda on that run, like one versus one, big one versus little one.
And it's just like it's unmatched speed when you don't have speed and athleticism at those positions. So yeah, like it was a more complete team win, and it really did it had more like emphasis and more just like meaning to it to me than it did the Packers win. Like this one felt like okay, like we're really maybe we're putting something together, but who knows, right?
Right.
We're saying they have the Giants this week coming up. We'll get to that later, but I mean, it feels good it feels like there's some momentum.
Yeah, yeah, and
And
I'm gonna piggyback off that. And what I think and what I'm taking away is that we had one win early in the season and then we have not won, and that's been
yeah.
painful for the team, right?
Mhm.
And last week we grinded one out. Let's be honest. Nobody wanted
Yeah.
to win the game, but we did. We grinded it out and somehow got the win. So how sweet that win had to taste, right? So those players been working so hard, giving it all, believing in the system blindly, believing
Yeah.
in the system and leadership. And so they grind it out. So that feeling of winning, there's Miko, when you win, there is that feeling, especially after losing.
Mhm.
So they almost have conquered this adversity for right now. And so them going to Chicago, they're like, you know, I think they were in the game enough. They're like, where they wanted that feeling again
Yeah.
together, all of them together as a team. You saw them all going. The defense was like almost like I could smell it in the like. They're like, I could smell this win. Like if we can get to them, like
Yep.
I could tell when they were all converging on Justin Fields. It's like like Anzalone, like
Yeah, like
like 1, 2, 3, and then all 4 of them just throw. I- It felt like a culmination. That moment felt like a culmination of all this hard work a little bit for the group, and yeah, that's just a different spin on it, maybe a little bit, but you're right. It did feel more like the whole team moving together for that win.
yeah, because I mean, again, looking back at that game, there were moments where it felt like this team was just going to fall apart. To your point, like when they went up by 14, specifically like that run that Justin Fields had to like end the first half where it looked like Isaiah Buggs had him and then it looked like Kaminsky had him and then he
Oh
just
yeah,
like outruns everybody and gets into the end zone. It's just like
bounces, dude. Like,
that's probably a backbreaker right there.
mhm.
Cuz like it had been so much of that in the first half where it's like, "Oh, we think we got him. We think we got him. Nope, don't got him." And then big yardage, right? And so I gotta like really tip my hat at the players and at this coaching staff to not give up, not just give up on the game, but like not give up on the game plan, right? Because that's a moment where guys could have become very selfish and been like,
Yep.
this game plan's not working. I'm trying to contain and he's still killing us. I'm just gonna forget contain. I'm just gonna go at him. And I do think there was a couple plays like that. I think Julian Aquara had a play like that where Justin Fields kind of faked. It was a fake, and he still, and I think he gave the ball to the running back, and Julian Okwara still hit Justin Fields like, screw it. Like, I'm just going to sell out on this play because even if he doesn't give the ball up, I'm hitting him.
Right.
And so it was exciting to see. I think I got my excitement back, honestly, like after Jeff got that pick. When Jeff got the pick to tie it up at 24, it was like, oh, we got a game now because that's what you needed. Like,
You needed something. You needed a spark.
yeah, because to your point, the defense was stalling or the offense was stalling in the third quarter like they've been doing kind of all year. And once the Bears got up by 14, it's just like, bro, like you guys got to get something. Like if you can't
Yeah, you got to
allow
start. You got to start something. You got to show life. Like we have to show life,
Mhm.
and they did. But then Fields comes right back. Like a
Yeah,
quarterback.
and
It's like,
yeah, to that point, right? Like Fields comes out and he gets another big run, and it's like, okay, maybe that's the backbreaker, right? Maybe that's the play that breaks this team and they can't get back up. And it's like, nope, right? I don't think they go back and score on that very next drive, but like they get a stop and then they go back and
after after the Okuda's pick six, that's when Justin Fields took it to the house right away.
yeah.
He took it to the house, um,
Hmm.
and I don't think that they don't score after that, do they? Or does Cole Kmet get one? No, I don't think so.
No,
Oh, he gets hurt.
yeah. Well,
He was
it
individually beating us too, like that.
well,
Also, I mean,
I, yeah. I mean, as much as we want to praise certain players, like there's other players. Kirby like was
not having.
blowing some assignments. Kirby was having a very rookie game. And it sucked to see that for him because he just had a phenomenal one against the Packers, but then like he played so much like a rookie in this one. And maybe he was just feeling himself a little too much. Maybe he was, I mean, clearly not doing his assignment. I would assume because like there's no way the assignment is that your only deep safety isn't covering deep, right? Like when you play safety, your responsibility is still to cover the deep third. Like you're supposed to be reading like offensive line and stuff like that. Kirby was clearly getting sucked into like reading what like the quarterback is doing and reading what's going on in the backfield instead of keeping in mind what his role and responsibility is, which is to still cover deep and then come up and run support. Like it has to be when you play a safety position, that is supposed to be your mindset is coverage first. And if it is a run, okay, I'm coming to support. Like you're not supposed to be you're not the number one option on stopping the run in those situations.
Right.
So it's clearly like him just overthinking those plays and not keeping in mind what his role and his responsibility is in those moments.
And Deshaun Elliott got trucked by Fields on that touchdown in the first half too.
Dude, I keep forgetting that Justin Fields is so big. Like when they kept like listing off his measurables, like 6'2", 230, it's like, why did I think he was like 6 feet tall? And it's like,
Yeah,
no, that's a big dude.
Sanchez couldn't kiss his ass anymore. I'm so glad the Lions won just so he had to shut up. I mean, at one point, Sanchez was like, "Whoa, don't miss it. Don't miss the kick." He was talking trash to our kicker like at the end for the field
He,
goal. I'm like, dude, get off the air. Sanchez, go butt fumble again somewhere else, please.
he
Go
reminds me so much of like Tony
somewhere.
Romo, and like people love Tony Romo, and I'm like, I hate Tony Romo so much. I actually don't mind Mark Sanchez.
Oh, see, I'm the other way around. Romo doesn't bother me. Sanchez drives me insane.
Bro, like Romo annoys me because it's like he forgets that he has a job to do, which is to call the game.
Talks
A-
and talks and talks and talks.
And it's like at some point in time, and I guess this is what people love, but like it starts to feel like he's just at home. It's like,
Like just talking. I mean, I kind of did like, yeah, I mean, I get that. I mean, how many games, does he call that I watch though? Not many.
no, and
When I
that's why I
do,
hate when I
when I
have to watch him.
oh, so when I do get him, sometimes it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Huh.
So going back to the
I met
Justin
him
Field
too, and he's just annoying. I met him in Vegas. Like, so
Romo.
no, Sanchez. That's also why it
Ah,
drives me crazy.
gotcha.
He is what you think he is. Anyways. So moving
But,
on. Go ahead.
but no, going back to the Justin Fields touchdown. So yeah, he gets the 67-yard rush. Uh Lions get the ball back. They go 3-and-out. Bears get the ball back. They go 3-and-out. And then the Lions go down and they score to put them up 31-30. So like again, that's resiliency, right? Because like again, that run, first of all, came out of nowhere. Clearly, again, broken assignment. Somebody miscontained. Justin Fields takes it to the house. And it's like, well, that could be the game. And then like they miss the kick. So you're like, oh, if the Lions can
This is the
score,
game. Yeah. Right.
that's the thought is if they can score. And I guess going into this game, that was my biggest concern was like if this offense could, hang. Because I don't think neither one of us expected it to be high scoring as it was.
Well, I
But
didn't. You thought it'd be very low. I thought it'd be in the low 20s, but no way did I think it was going 30s. Right.
yeah, there was no way I was thinking it was going 30s. And if it did get to the 30s, like I don't think if someone had told us the Bears were going to score 30, I think you and I both would be like, oh, well, Lions lose.
Correct.
Just again, based off the way the offense has been playing the last few weeks. So
Correct.
I
Well, we
mean,
won.
but we won. And speaking of the Lions offense,
I said the Lions won the game.
and speaking of the Lions offense struggling a little bit, or I'm not struggling, but actually like playing well for the first time in a couple weeks, it brings up the question about Jared Goff that you mentioned earlier, and it just raises the
What?
question: Is it a little too little? Is it a little too little, too late for Jared Goff in this situation? Is there anything he can do at this point in the season to kind of change the fan base's mind? Because again, I think a lot of the people in the fan base are ready to move on, are ready for a
Yeah.
quarterback change. Scotty, where do you sit on this?
Well, a couple of weeks ago, I said there is nothing Jared Goff could do to change my mind for the rest of the season, if you recall. Now, since then, he's won two. They won 2 games. Well,
Yeah.
yes, and I'm still sitting with that. There is nothing Jared Goff can do to change my mind. We need to move on from Goff. It is too little, too late. We know who he is. The league knows who he is.
Yeah.
I mean, I was supposed to go to the Chicago Bears game. They're all like, but all the guys, Bears fans, big Bear fans, football guys are like, Goff's a putz. I'm like, well, but he just beat you. But yeah, like he just won. So, and I think that what they might do, I mean, I think we got to get somebody else in, but I think Goff sticks around, right? I mean, you have Goff stick around until, young, whoever we get is available. I don't think we trade for like a Derek Carr. You know what I mean? He's going to be out of Vegas. I don't know that we could talk about that too, other options. But I don't know that Derek Carr is going to come to Detroit. I don't know that he's really an upgrade over Goff either.
He is in my book.
He is
In my book, yeah.
a little bit, but I mean,
he's not having a great year right now, but Josh McDaniels is his quarterback, is his offensive.
Well, McDaniels
the guy. Yeah, McDaniels is the head coach, and he's probably like in control of the offense. So,
dude, and McDaniels went to Denver, blew that, went back to Patriots. Now he's in the Raiders. He's blowing that, blowing it
Right.
again. It's like, dude, you're just not a good head coach. Like, just That
bro.
sucks.
And it's not like he just has like it'd be different if it was just Derek Carr. Like
Right.
you have Derek Carr and Devontae Adams, and you can't win games.
You're losing to Jeff Saturday in his head coaching debut with the Colts, you moron.
With against Matt Ryan, who
Matt
was
Ryan.
benched.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah. So no, I'm with you though on Jared
Let's
Goff.
get Devontae Adams and Derek Carr on the Lions. Let's get them both.
I mean, why not?
Here's
But
all the draft capital. Just give us those two.
pull a Les Snead and just be like, F these picks. Here.
Just we're winning now. Win now. I don't.
But no, I agree with you on the stance that like it is a little too late in the regards of Jared Goff, just because the inconsistency kills me. It does. We can sit here and be like, hey, I can acknowledge that he had a good game this week, but he also had a terrible game last week.
Yeah.
He didn't have a great game the week before that. And I don't believe he had a great game the week before that. So it's like, if I can't trust you to be consistent, that's the minimum you have to be, I think, at like, if you're going to at least be middle of the road, be consistently middle of the road. Jimmy Garoppolo is consistently middle of the road.
I mean, we could get Garoppolo. I mean, Garoppolo, is he an upgrade?
God, no.
No?
No. Surprise, like they just find ways to win. Like Kyle Shanahan is just a master.
Yeah, he's a genius. Yeah, he is.
Like I saw a graphic this morning, and I don't know if it's true or not, that basically said the 49ers are 10-2 under Jimmy Garoppolo when he doesn't throw a touchdown pass. And I don't want that as my quarterback, because that seems like
fair.
That's anxiety. But Jared Goff's inconsistency game in, game out, like the fact that I can't count on you. Like I don't think
Meko, it's not even you. I'm gonna let you fit, but it's also the team, dude. It drives probably the team crazy. Like, dude, we're doing our job and you're so high and low, they can't rely on him. So that's a lack of trust there too. But go ahead. Sorry, I had to get that. Forget it.
No, you're right. And I think that's a key issue for me is, first of all, he doesn't elevate players around him. And just because he did it in this game where you're like, well, he made Tom Kennedy work, and it's like on one throw. On one really well-placed throw.
And Kennedy, I mean, made the run, dude. He looked faster than I've ever seen him too. He was running for his life out there, dude.
And that's what I'm saying.
Kennedy.
So it's one of those
number
things
one fan.
There's that element of it. And then there's the other element of it, which like showed up big time in this game against the Bears, which is Justin Fields' talent. Even though they lost, I still was watching that game, was like, I want that. I want what he has. Because that you can't, that you have to game plan for. Like Dan Campbell talked about it. Like the game plan was, okay, we have to try to make him beat us from the pocket.
And that's what they forced at the end of the game for us to win. But the entire game, he was escaping.
Yeah, the entire game up until that last drive and a couple other drives in there, he was destroying their game plan. And again, not because it's a bad game plan, but just because they were not able to execute it. Jared Goff, I feel like, is very, very easy to scheme for. He doesn't like tight man coverage. So if you can run tight man coverage, if you have the corners that can be sticky or that can be physical with opposing receivers, Jared Goff doesn't like making those throws. That's when you get him sitting in the pocket forever, holding the ball and taking terrible sacks. Or he makes terrible throws and throws interceptions. The fact that he can't be mobile, the fact that you can't have like option type of passing plays.
He did run more though, like on Sunday, than I've seen him run ever.
Oh yeah, he had 4 rushes. Like there was one that I was like, thank God. I was like, you got to run it. And he did. And so,
is that the one he got pushed? Which was
out of bounds. It was a weak call, but I'll take it.
All day long, I'll take it. I mean, Goff sold it too. I got to give him credit. He sold it. He got a pissed. And what's with that plastic shit on the sidelines that people are like slipping and sliding? Why do they have that? Just get rid of that. Or
I don't know.
Do something else. Like, Is that because like people are spitting on the sidelines and all the water they don't want getting like what is that stuff on the ground?
I'm assuming it's probably for like cables and stuff because they do have like camera crews and stuff. So I'm assuming I don't know, honestly.
Whatever it is, I gotta look it up because that is like dangerous. Anybody running out of bounds like stops and they're sliding.
Yeah, no, but I mean,
Anyway, sorry. But yeah, like that was. I mean, he ran a little bit. He got a little
he,
bit.
no, he did, but it's just
Moved
like
his giant
it's
feet.
it's just one of those things where whether it's Justin Fields, whether it's Lamar Jackson, whether it's Josh Allen, um, and those are like the super athletic guys, right? The guys that are like, that will take it, 20, 30 yards on you on any given run. But I mean, even guys like Daniel Jones are pretty athletic and they can have these just again, if
Yeah, they can get moving, and then
yeah,
it's good.
it,
Goff cannot get moving. Like when you think he can like hit a stride, it's like no, he's
like
like
it's like
trying
it's
to
like
stay
8 yards.
upright. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like 8 yards where you're like, I mean, and it's a good 8 yards, but it's still like it's not consistent and
just
it's not something you have to game plan for.
God, and it just looks like it's so hard for him too. Like I'm not gonna lie, like it just looks like it's so much effort to get moving.
Well, and you look at like this Bears offense that they were going against. So you have a mobile quarterback that you have to account for, and then you have two impact running backs that you're just like either of these guys could get the ball. And then if he decides not to hand it off to anybody and decides to throw, like you still have to like you have to wait, right? I think there was a play where Hutch literally stopped his rush because he wasn't sure what was about to happen. And then I think Fields took off and ran. It's like, but he had to stop his feet. Like he couldn't just continue with his rush because he had to deal with the threat of the running back getting the ball, the quarterback taking
Right.
it, or the quarterback throwing.
I mean, he did that a lot, which actually I give Hutch credit. He did that a lot. He stopped. He went. He wanted to go. You could tell he was like, "I'm gonna get wait." you could see Hutch's mind going too.
Hmm.
That was fun for me to watch. It was like, wait, stop. Wait, I might be able to get a pick. That's how Okuda got that pick because
Yeah,
he blocked it for commit. So Fields had to overthrow it, and Okuda's like, "Yeah, thank you, bye to the house."
yeah.
And
And so like that's the kind of stuff that like having a mobile quarterback, having a guy that can move, it would take this offense to a different level because it's a different element that you have to contend with. And so
that's why I
to your
wanted him.
point,
That's why I want him a league. Now he didn't play that. I mean, he played okay.
but
What do you
he's
play?
like,
What is he?
yeah, but
Did he play Thursday night? When did
yeah,
where they
yeah, I think
went?
it
They
was
went
last
to
Thursday.
overtime. Yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, and he's in a
against
developmental
Kansas City.
situation. Yeah, he's in a developmental situation, and that's why, like, even for me, whether it's if it's not in the first round, if you're not going to take a quarterback, if let's say you're going to take, go all defense or something like that, find you a mobile guy that you have like a lot of conviction about that you're like, you know what, but we can develop him into a really good pocket passer, something, because like you said earlier, like the league is trending in this direction. So it's better. I feel like it's better you have that guy than if you don't have that guy.
We need that guy. I'm with you. I just don't know who that guy is, and they better be looking. So
Anthony Richardson is that guy, and for me, because I mean since the Lions keep winning, they keep slipping in draft position. So it's like,
yeah,
fine, find me a guy that's semi mobile. Um,
okay,
but
okay.
again, not only did Jared Goff kind of get something good out of this win, obviously the team did as well, but it kind of brings us back to a question we asked last week, and Gian wanted to run this back. Unfortunately, he's not here, but we'll talk about it anyway. And it's, has this win earned the Lions coaches any extra breathing room? And I'm gonna tell you, so I rolled my eyes. I rolled my eyes so hard when
He
Gian
did.
said he wanted to like bring this topic back up because
Uh,
I was like, are we gonna do this every week? Are we gonna do this every like because if they win against the Giants, are we gonna be like, so did they get more extra breathing room? Like,
no, I think this is the last episode we ask that.
I'm not doing this topic again next week.
No, no, regardless.
Well, so again, do they get any extra? I mean, sure, a little bit, but like how much? Like, I think the better question, and I really do, I wish Gian was here so I could ask him this,
All right,
is
we'll get him. We'll get him.
how much breathing room did you think they had before this game? And how much breathing room do you think they should now have now? because they're still at 3 wins. So I don't think I should be giving them like this semi truck size amount of breathing room to be like, "Oh yeah, you guys have
Hey,
nothing to worry about."
no, yeah, I'm of the mindset that they have no breathing room with everything they've created to date. They're still like on it's a short leash, and like because if they lose the rest, I mean, it's if they lose out the rest of the season, which
Then
they
what are we talking about?
then
Right. Like,
right, what are we talking about? So we don't know. I think that hey, we won. I think this was a team win, like we talked
mhm.
about. They tasted victory last week. They liked it. It was a sweet taste, and they got more of it. And and if they can get this team hungry to get some wins, like we said early in the season, right? If they can keep the games close, look what we're doing toward the end of a game. I mean, our
Mhm.
fourth quarters aren't bad. Third quarter suck, but then we somehow get it together and we get, we can march it down the field, and we can. And look at what we did with all the wide receivers injured. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the other thing too. We're going to get reinforcements coming soon, right? I mean, in December, hopefully, my main man,
Yeah.
JMO,
JMO comes back. I
back.
mean, hopefully Chark is off of IR.
Right.
Hopefully Reynolds is a little more healthy. So,
Because
yeah, I'm gonna
we did it. I mean, the Bears are not amazing, but we
but
won.
that's what I'm yeah, like we won. I'm happy about them winning. I think it is a feather in the cap of Dan Campbell that he gets a road win under his tenure and that he's, you
And it's
know,
Aaron Glenn nod too. I think that like their
yeah,
game plan for Fields, like the way in which we got torched by Jalen Hurts. Right. I don't think that maybe we did a little bit, but we didn't get destroyed. Right. I guess if that makes sense by Field, like it contained him enough and stopped the running. You know what I mean? Montgomery didn't do anything. And what about Hutch destroying
bring
Montgomery? Oh my
oh my
gosh.
god.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We got to talk about Hutch when we talk about our next topic. Right. Yeah, we got to talk a little Hutch.
Yeah, no, and that's a really good point. But like, yeah, like this performance, like, yes, good job on the coaching staff, right? Good job on Dan Campbell, good
Right.
job on AG.
Great. You did your
I
job.
don't yeah,
You
I don't
did your
know,
job.
like
Like, what do you did your
I
job?
don't think I don't think anybody should be sitting here like you guys have nothing to worry about for the rest of the year. Like, no, like go out there and play the Giants. Because if you go out there and get let's say they go out there and play the Giants and get blanked 41 to nothing. What are we saying then? Like, we're like, well,
Worked in New York.
right. If they go out and get blanked by like and they give up 40 and they don't put up points, then we're gonna be talking about how AG should be on the chopping block again. Like, so I don't want to say that like I'm giving them any extra breathing room because it is like you're in a hole. Now, granted, you're in a hole with a lot of other teams. A lot of other teams have like 5, 6 losses. So you're not like the worst of the worst, but like there's no illusion here that this is a good football team for me. Is it for you? Like, is there any illusion that this is a good football team?
No, there's
I was
no
gonna say,
illusion.
like,
It's no, that's why we're in the bottom half. It's why we have 3 wins. Like that's why we talk about we don't have the right personnel on defense to contain a mobile quarterback. That's why we are playing a Tom Kennedy and Khalif Raymond right now. I mean, we don't have, you know what I mean? Like the talent's all injured. It's not there. I mean, if we were playing, if the offense was playing like it was in the first couple games this entire season, we had that consistency from Jared Goff, right? Then okay, yeah, but we don't have that, and I don't. in now, having said that, right, the
mhm,
coaches and the GM, I mean, the GM's supposed to be able to put that together, right? So
yeah,
this is a little bit on Brad Holmes, right? We've talked about this a couple times. Like Holmes has got to get the team together, and we traded Hawkinson, right?
yeah,
And Hawk's gone. I mean, could have used him yesterday.
absolutely. I mean,
Right.
again, I think every game we go into, there's still going to be that element of, hey, that's great. Still would be nice to have a few more weapons, but it does raise the question, like you were hinting at, like does does the way that this team is playing, the way the rookies are playing, because again, Hutch had a really good game. Um, back-to-back games that he's played really, really well. Okuda has a really good game. A lot of your young pieces are playing really well. Does it give you confidence in the rebuild and in the situation that the rebuild is in? Again, this is kind of a rehash of the question we had last week, but I mean,
Yeah, but it's good to ask it again this week after the second win, right? So
yeah,
what's interesting, Hutch has 5.5 sacks right now.
Yeah.
I mean, dude could get upwards of. I mean, he could get over that 7, right? He could get to
He could get over. Yeah, he could probably. I
get
still think
8,
he gets
9.
like. Yeah, I think he might get 9 if he's lucky. I think like he
But
could
that's
maybe get
still a
9.
win. Like I don't remember. Wasn't our line like 7?
I said 7. I said if he got 7, I'd be happy.
Right. I mean, and he's at 5.5 right now, and I don't think he's been playing necessarily that well. He's had like he hasn't had full games. Now, I think he played a really good game on Sunday. I thought he
I was
played
gonna say,
well. He was
yeah.
all over the field. He's getting the hang of like where he's at now. He can see
Mhm.
the play. He's got an interception already, so you can see him eyeballing he's like, maybe I could get another pick. Like it's interesting to see him develop. I feel like I've watched him develop this half of the season, and I thought yesterday was a really good performance. And yesterday was what I was talking about when we drafted him. And we were talking about Hutchinson
Mhm.
might not get all the sacks, but he'll hopefully be making the plays in the right moments. And
Yeah.
and yesterday
Yesterday
was
was the
that.
right one. Yeah.
He rose to the occasion and big moments. He got that sack when we needed that sack, right? That's
Yeah.
when he got the sack. He forced Fields to throw that ball up so Kuda pick 6. I mean, when we needed that spark, right? He was a part of it. And then he destroyed Montgomery. That was amazing. He came off the edge and grabbed him and then flipped around and threw him like a wrestling move. It was like inspired by Rodrigo. He Rodrigo'd him.
Dude, and it was for me like it's kind of vindication too because I've seen a lot of people say this on Twitter and like trying to like call people out and be like, "Oh, but you didn't believe in Hutch or you called him I never called him a bust, but I definitely pointed out that he wasn't playing well. You are not. You are not going to look at the last 2 games and tell me that he was playing like this consistently."
Well, Meko, we were told he was turnkey. He's plug and play. Clearly not. It's taken 10 games, 10 weeks. Like
And
what?
that's and again, there's nothing wrong with it taking
No,
time,
but
but
don't tell
don't
us it's
try.
plug and play, man. Like,
Yeah,
right.
don't tell us he's plug and play. And for those of you that are fans, don't backtrack and be like, "Well, see, I told you." Like, no, because he wasn't playing like this. He wasn't. He had one good game
No.
against Washington and then
It,
disappeared.
yep. Yep.
Right. So
He's had flashes, but okay, he had a full game, right?
he's
He
had 2 good back-to-back games.
right.
Like,
Okay, let's build on this. If this kid,
thank you.
so that was great. Kirby had a bad game, but he might be riding high because he's been playing so well. He might be getting a little cocky and maybe okay, fine, rookie, whatever. That like rookie getting excited, might be feeling himself a little bit. Like
Feeling himself a little bit and
sure,
just again, tough opponent to game plan for. This week, maybe it's a little easier because you know what you're getting. You're getting a heavy dose of Saquon Barkley this week. It's going to be a lot of Saquon.
I hope Rodrigo's playing.
I hope Jared Davis is playing. You need bench Alex Anzalone and play
Hey,
Jared
Jared
Davis.
he swatted one. I mean, dude, he showed
JD
up.
played great. JD played well.
He played well. Anzalone played pretty well, dude. He was
Like,
he was okay. He was all over. He was around the ball. I mean, nobody could tackle Fields. I mean, they get one hand. If you didn't, I mean, you can't tackle him. But Anzalone was there. He was trying.
what I was gonna say, like
up here.
these linebackers, the linebackers we have are better playing against the run. We have good run stopping linebackers. That was one of the reasons, like Dan Campbell even pointed this out when talking about Jared Davis. Like the matchup made sense. Rodrigo wasn't going to be able to go, and the matchup made sense, and they felt like, you know what, he's a good run stopping linebacker. And again,
yeah,
I don't know what his stat line was, but again, it wasn't a lot of calls about him getting like beat in the passing game, and there weren't a lot of missed tackles. So
right.
that's all I can ask for from JD. From a guy that was basically on your practice squad. I know people are gonna be like, but he was a former first round pick. We already know he hasn't lived up to that.
Right. Come on. He's left and he came back is what it is. So Hutch, yes. Okuda had a solid game. I mean, I know Fields worked him. You know, he got worked a couple times, but you know what? A pick 6. I mean,
Yeah,
and
he had
that
more.
can make me forget about a lot of other shit. You know what I mean? Like,
He had more picks than he had targets given up. He didn't give up any. He didn't give up any catches. So I mean, again, Justin Fields wasn't the greatest quarterback as far as throwing it, but again, you still. This is when Jeff has to shine, right? When the matchup is technically in your favor,
You got to
You
do
have
it.
to, yeah, you have to
Yeah.
dominate.
I mean, and I would like to continue to watch his progress this season, but I would say, I mean, Okuda right now, I mean, I really think he should be comeback player of the year. Like, honestly, like, I don't know who else he could be. At least he should get votes.
Saquon, he should absolutely get votes for it. Saquon will
Saquon,
probably win it
okay, yeah, well, he's killing it right
because
now. And he's
offensive player.
yeah,
There should be like an offensive defensive player for that because like there's
contract.
no way.
That's true. Yeah, he wouldn't. It's a contract year for Saquon too, so I think that's part
Oh,
of it.
they're gonna have to pay
Motivation.
him. If
Oh
you're
yeah,
not gonna draft a new quarterback, you might as well pay your running back.
right.
Um, but no, like I think in terms of the rebuild, yeah, like I stacking wins is more of an indication that things are trending in the right direction from a team perspective.
Yeah.
Um, because we are seeing the defense gel a little bit more. The offense is missing pieces. The offensive line didn't play great, but I think like the offensive line has played so well consistently for the most part, specifically in the run game and the pass game. Well, run and pass, they haven't been giving up a lot of sacks.
Yeah.
They're top 15, the lines are like top 15 in rushing yards for the season. The offensive line has been good. This wasn't a great game for them, but like I don't think either of us would sit here and be like, oh well, they need to blow up this offensive line. No, I mean
No.
Taylor Decker probably isn't playing is probably isn't having his best year, but he's also not the worst player on this offensive line. You haven't had Vitae all year. And so it still isn't even the starting offensive line that you wanted to have, but it's the starting offensive line that you have and that's been effective for the most part. Um Honestly, and that was another thing too with this game, with the offensive line not playing great at times, I really found myself having issues with some play calling decisions. Just like some of the runs they were putting out there, some of the personnel matchups. I wasn't a huge fan of like this wasn't my favorite Ben Johnson game. I'll put it that way. It wasn't my favorite Ben Johnson game, specifically when it came to the run game.
To the run game. That's fair, but I do think that there were, and again, Miko, I'm going to go back to he he made some really good play calls when he had to. Like
Yeah.
and I will give him credit on that. I agree the run game it feels like something's off there. Now, I know Swift is really hurt and this will be him the rest of the season probably.
Yeah.
Which stinks, and we're going to get into that in a minute, but yeah, but I mean, again, it's tough to watch Jamal and Justin Jackson try and have to get those tough yards. Now they did, and they busted their tail to do it, but like because of the play calling, they're losing yards, or they're having to go through.
Well, and that's kind of what I meant. Even I mean, I would throw Swift in there as well, where it was some of the run calls that Swift was getting, and I'm just like, why is that the play or why is that the formation? Like why Kabinda's coming off of IR, he's active. Like why aren't you using a lead blocker more often?
Yeah,
Why aren't you this has always frustrated me. When you have a back with the caliber of when you have backs with the caliber of Swift and Jamal, why don't we do more two running back, stuff? Right? Some of the stuff that Green Bay does when they have Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, stuff that we saw the Bears do when they had
right.
Herbert and Montgomery in the backfield, like just to make the defense think. But in all too often we
Good point.
see it's a lot of
Single back formation, right?
single back formation. And if it's Jamal back there, then you're probably getting a fullback. Like Swift doesn't get a fullback often. He did get one on his touchdown run, but even in that play, like Kabenda blocks the end on the opposite side that Swift is running.
Well, that's the whole thing. It was a counter, right? They ran it to
Yeah.
the right, and they just tricked Chicago. They bit, and then Swift was like, "Nope, I was going this way."
Yeah.
Like, I
So,
mean, that was a
but
good play call in the
yeah.
moment for the over aggressive Chicago, right?
Hmm.
He teased it, but maybe to answer your question, that was it. Maybe they wanted to do these runs to make sure they would bite on moments like that. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah. I've I will say I have been like consistently frustrated with Swift's usage since he's come back from injury. And to your point, maybe he's not fully healthy, but I mean, reports came out last week that he was pissed about how he was being used in Green Bay against Green Bay. I Great he got in the end zone, but I'm still probably sure he's probably a little pissed about how he was used against the Bears because again, it's this idea of, okay, if he's not going to be used to run the ball, he's still a terrific route runner. He's still a
Right.
terrific pass catcher. Why is he not being used more in that
I
sense?
don't think they threw. What did they throw? One or two passes to him, maybe in this game. I didn't. I don't remember seeing any passes thrown to him actually.
Yeah, there were not. Swift got one, Justin Jackson got two. So like it was not a lot of passes to the running back position at all in this game, which again is a little frustrating for me because there's no doubt that again, when healthy, which Swift is not perfectly healthy, he's your best offensive player. Even more so than Amon-Ra. I know Amon-Ra had a really good game, but I think when Swift is healthy, he's more lightning in a bottle than Amon-Ra is. Amon-Ra is very
Totally.
consistent. Swift is very explosive in my mind. Which again, going into our next topic is which has me very concerned because the way that they're using him, it really has me wondering like, could DeAndre Swift be the next player that we see moved from this team?
Maybe. I mean,
I,
maybe.
I
I
mean,
I don't want to, but the argument could be made. Dude can't stay
mhm,
healthy. He's always hurt.
yep,
I mean, he's every now. I don't want to see that. I love Swifty, but I mean, they moved Hawk.
yeah, and he was healthy,
Right.
like
He was healthy.
health. He was healthy, leading your team in receptions, leading your team in touchdowns, and they were like, "Nah, we don't need that."
Yeah, I mean, I don't. And again, I haven't looked at the running back class for next year either. I don't know.
Well, and that's the part that has me concerned, right? Is because we can all agree that Jamal is solid. Justin Jackson has been serviceable, but like neither of those guys are Swift.
Swift, no,
Like
no.
neither of those guys are Swift. So
Both of those guys, I'm sorry, I don't think they're as fast as Swift, and they don't get the touchdown he gets. I know it looked easy and it was a good play call. I'm not
mhm,
sure either of those guys are that fast to turn on a dime, right? To do that counter and make that touchdown run. At least
yeah,
look that easy. I mean,
yeah,
maybe
I'm
they stopped right at the one. Swift was already in before anybody's there. I
yeah,
don't know that those
clearly
guys
outran
make.
the defense
Yeah,
to
I
the
don't think those guys make that play, and that's a huge touchdown in the game. I mean, one by 1 point, like it, we needed that in that
yeah.
moment. He could be the next one they move, in my opinion. If they move anybody for draft capital, it would be Swift. I think. I don't know that they do it though. I don't know that uh who's the running backs coach? What's his face?
Deuce Staley.
I don't think Deuce will let him go.
I agree.
I don't
Like,
think Deuce would be like, hell no. Like,
yeah,
you
I'm
go,
in a
I go. Like that's what he'd be like.
well, because and I'm in agreement with you. Like, if someone is to be moved on this offense, or even just again, someone to be traded for draft
On the
capital,
lines, I
Swift,
think, yeah.
yeah, Swift is probably the top candidate right now. The problem with that is you can't gut this offense that much. I don't like it, but I can agree with you say like, hey, no, we can subsidize TJ's production with Brock Wright, James Mitchell, and Zilstra. Okay, fine. Because you don't throw like maybe you don't want to throw to the tight end that much anyway. So I can see how you feel like you can, kind of
And
subsidize that.
to that point, and they kind of have in the past couple games. Now, I rather have Hawk, yeah, but have they made the plays right? It was another wide open uh
Yeah.
tight end. Was it another touchdown? Was
Yeah,
it
another touchdown to Brock Wright.
wide
So
open again? Ben Johnson schemed him wide open, like nobody near him. Like,
yeah. So if that's like again, if that's what you think you can get out of the tight end position, fine. I don't think you can subsidize the running back position with Jamal leading the pack. Again, Jamal's serviceable and he's been doing a really good job with Swift injured. But if you knew that you only had a game plan for Jamal, I don't think Jamal like one, I don't think his body would hold up because he is a way more physical runner. And two, like it's a little easier to game plan for him because you know what he does and what he doesn't do well. He can catch, but he's not the dynamic pass catcher that Swift is. He can break a big run, but not with the same ease and fluidness that Swift can. And finding those kind of players isn't easy. I don't think. And I don't know if I really want the Lions spending early draft capital on those kind of guys. Not if you have one. Like, again, yeah, he's hurt, but maybe you need to find more creative ways of using him. I don't know. Like,
I'm with you. I just I don't think they get. I don't think they move him. I really don't think that he gets moved. But
but yeah, I mean,
the trade
again, I
deadline,
hope not either. Trade deadline passed, so like they would have to move him in the offseason.
right? Okay,
So
well, that's right. We traded Hawk right at the deadline, right? Yeah.
yeah, and that's the other reason that I think they probably wouldn't trade him is that the
Right.
return for running backs isn't high.
Uh, No.
Like again, you're talking about a running back that has been injured, who has some wear and tear on his body. Nothing um overly serious, right? Like
Super severe,
nothing,
but he's always banged up.
but
He's
he is, yeah,
always banged up.
yeah. So that's going to drive his value down. So you're better off keeping him. But I mean, I think one thing we can both agree on is that they're definitely going to need him next week against the Giants.
Yeah.
And they're definitely going to need to have a really good game plan because the Giants have been rolling what it seems like all season. So kind of a two-part question here. What are you most confident in about this matchup with the Giants, and as well as what are you most concerned about with this matchup with the Giants?
Woo. Oh boy. I am gonna start with what I'm most concerned about because that's easy. Is Saquon Barkley,
Yeah,
who's having a season. Um, yeah, I'm worried about that. Now, I think we can do a good job to minimize him. Um, I'm trying to think. Is he's going to be the best running back we've gone up against this season? Correct? Because Aaron Jones got hurt.
Aaron Jones got hurt early. Miles Sanders didn't actually do too much. It was a lot of Jalen
He got a,
Hurts.
he got Sanders did get a touchdown, but he didn't destroy us, right? Like that didn't.
Yeah. Dalvin Cook.
I think he didn't. He
Yeah.
get hurt too.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook got hurt too. So
Well,
maybe
maybe
I don't
we
know.
just hurt guys. Maybe we hurt Saquon early, and then we don't have to deal with him. Get Rodrigo in there, give a body slam or two, get him out in concussion protocol for the game, and then it's game on.
I mean, and the crazy thing about that is that he doesn't even necessarily have to have a concussion. He just needs to go into protocol.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm not wishing
minute-
any ill will on anybody, but hey, I mean, Lions hit hard. Maybe we could, knock him out for a half. I don't know. So I'm concerned about him. They got rid of Kadarius Toney, who had a good game with Kansas City, actually, which is
Yeah.
interesting. So yeah, I mean, Daniel, I just don't know how the Giants are winning. It's their defense, right?
I mean, they have a really good defense. Their defense has been very, very solid this year. Very stout defensive line with Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence, obviously Kayvon is over there.
Oh my
So
gosh, Kayvon. I know he's gonna
yeah, I'm super excited to see that.
he's gonna break Goff in half. Gets to him.
Dude, I mean, that would be Lions fans' nightmare, right? If Kayvon hasn't had the season that Aiden's had by any stretch. But if Kayvon came into that game and wrecked shop,
Yeah, I'll be mad.
we'll all be sitting here like, well. But I mean, again, I don't think anybody would regret the pick, but it's gonna feel crappy.
It's gonna hurt, especially if it's him. If it's him, it's gonna hurt more than if it's anybody else.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh,
they gotta. I just think we can minimize the run. I mean, our defense is built pretty well to minimize the run. So hopefully that's the case. And it's not like they have any crazy wide receivers. I mean, it's not like they got a Tyreek Hill. They have consistent big receivers though, right? They're bigger, consistent. Daniel Jones is big. He's got some legs. That's a fear actually, is the Daniel Jones running for like 30 yards like Aaron Rodgers did, right? Where we're not game scheming for a running quarterback, so we're not planning for it, but then he'll scamper for a first down. Like that's to me is what I think we'll see, like Aaron Rodgers did. They're just going to be smart enough and they can move well enough that they're going to do that. That's going to be a problem.
yeah. No, I was gonna say like that. that's my concern, is that the running game gets out of control, because not only do you have to deal with a dynamic running back in Saquon, and obviously that is going to be the game plan, is to limit Saquon as much as you can. Daniel Jones can move too. Daniel Jones is the second leading rusher on that team. So like you have to contend with that. I don't know if they, again, he's not Justin Fields, he's not nearly as explosive, but like yeah, he'll take off on you if you're not paying attention. Um the one thing I was gonna say though, the thing that gives me like a little bit of confidence. So like I am concerned about the running game, but I'm also kind of confident in the run defense, because like
That's
you
right, man.
yeah, because like you look at the last couple games, and looking at running back specifically, because again, Justin Fields had a game, right? 147 yards, ridiculous.
Right,
But the Lions have kept running backs
right.
under
Montgomery
100.
and Herbert didn't do much.
Yeah, Montgomery and Herbert didn't have 100 yards rushing. When they played the Dolphins, they only gave up 107 yards rushing. When they played the Packers, they only gave up like 100 and something yards rushing. So like it's not it's not like drastic. And I think if the Lions can continue that trend where it's like, okay, limit Saquon to like 80 yards, you can win that game. You just can't let him like one, you can't let him gash you on first and second down. I mean, I think this is like rocket science, but like you can't let him gash you on first and second down to get to like those third and mediums and third and shorts that are easy to convert. But I'm in agreement with you that like, because if you can keep them to third and long, yeah, I'm not worried about any of these receivers. Darius Slayton, I mean, is kind of having a resurgence right now, but not really. Kenny Galladay got benched the last game. Like, there's no one, there's
Solid.
no one on this receiving core that like I'm drastically concerned about. And then again, Daniel Jones is kind of up and down passing wise. So
That's the thing. I mean, but they're 7-2. How?
I
I don't like. How are they 7-2? Like
but
let me go through this while we're. Go ahead.
well, I was gonna say, because that's the thing that like, even though I say all that, right? Even though I say like I'm kind of confident in the run defense, and I'm kind of confident in our ability to limit their receivers, something is going to break. Like something, like they've won a lot of close games, it looks like, right? I mean, they are averaging about 21 points a game, but they're also giving up close to 20. So it's a lot of like close games. It's not, they're not blowing people out by any stretch. Um, their third down
Yeah,
conversion rate is about like 41%. Again, nothing ridiculous, but they're doing just enough. Defensively, though, again, they're holding teams to 32%
you know
on
what's
third
funny?
down.
In what's funny in all these games, the most points they've scored in a game is 27 points. That's it. Most of
Yeah,
their
like
game, they beat the Titans 21-20, game one.
mhm.
Game two, they beat the Panthers 19-16. Game three, they beat the Bears 20-12.
So that was like their most dominant win.
They beat the Packers 27-22.
Yep, close game again.
Beat the Ravens 24-20.
4 points.
They beat the Jaguars 23-17.
Yep, still close.
They lost to the Seahawks 27-13.
All right, yeah, that's just the Seahawks being better.
And then they beat the Texans 24-16.
Which I
Earlier,
think they were losing that game early on, and I
Texans,
think
they were down. Yeah.
yeah.
And
And
sorry,
like you look at
earlier,
you
earlier they lost to the Cowboys 23-16. That was a loss to the Cowboys week 3.
yeah, and I mean you look at the games that they've lost, right? Is games where they've kept Saquon under 100 yards.
So that would be the Cowboys D, right? Stopping
Yeah.
Saquon. And that would be Pete Carroll and the Seahawks scheming up the right
Keeping
way.
him, yeah, keeping him to
Outposting.
53.
Right.
I mean, and granted, Saquon's had some other games where he's been under 100, and that's why I say like these games are close. Like these games are so close.
No, this
And
will
let's,
be a close game. My score, yeah, I got a field goal.
I
Yeah.
mean, let's jump to it then. Like, what is your game prediction for this one?
27-24. 27-24, Giants win. And now if it's and now here, this is my thing. This superstition. I'm going with the other team winning in the hopes that the Lions win, though. Just so everybody's clear. I I hope that I'm just trying to keep this superstition train rolling. Ever since I picked the other team, the Lions have been winning the past 2 weeks.
Oh man. So I've picked the Lions to win the last 2 weeks, and they won the last 2 weeks.
I know.
And this one makes me super uncomfortable. This one, like I don't because I
Before
do feel like
in New York too. Like I
it's
was
in New York.
worried about at Soldier Field. I was worried about it, but they did it. They broke the curse, if you will. They
Let me look at hold on. Before I give my prediction, I'm gonna
Yep.
cheat a little bit. I want to see what
The
their defense is like against the run. Because I'm just
Okay, while you're looking, I'm
curious.
gonna go for the over. The over under is 46. So I would be choosing the over, obviously,
Okay.
by
They give up a lot of rushing yards.
the Giants.
They do.
The spread for the game is 3.5. Giants giving 3.5 points. So that would make sense. It's a field goal. So they want you to bet. If you're betting the spread, it's 3.5. So yeah, that's what they want. That's interesting there. So
I'm gonna go
total yards, team stats, points per game. The Lions are 24.3 points per game. The Giants are 20.8 points per game. Points allowed per game. Lions are 29.3 and the Giants are 19.2.
all right. So I'm gonna go 23-20
Okay.
Lions.
Oh, yes, I love it. Stay with it. Stay with it.
I'm
I love
like
it.
let's keep the train going. Let's keep
keep
the
the
hype train.
superstition.
Yeah, I mean
3 wins in a row. Love it.
3 wins in a row. This city will go crazy for a team to be 4-6. Wild card hunt.
I mean, dude, that's the other thing. Let's see.
You get JMO back in December when games matter. Look, give us something to be like happy about going into Thanksgiving,
Right.
because Thanksgiving's going to be
It's
sad. It's going to be so disappointing.
I mean, the Bills just lost though. And I don't know how hurt Josh Allen is. They're still amazing. And it's in Detroit. And it's Thanksgiving. I mean,
Him
you
and Stephon Diggs
never
are
know.
going to torch us. It
I
is going to be
know.
disrespectful.
But you know how like the Lions show up for games like that though? Like they'll show up and keep it close.
Listen,
You never know. Weirder things have happened.
I will
Okay.
call it right now. People are going to be calling for Jeff Okudah's head after
If
that
what?
Bills game, because Stephon Diggs is going to eat him alive.
Probably.
It is going to be ugly.
I mean, Diggs is I mean, he's
And
Him
Josh Allen is just going to just like
drop bombs.
when Josh Allen trucks Aiden Hutchinson, we're all going to be sitting here like, well, that just happened.
Yep. Okay, so then all right, so Giants, Bills, then the Jags at home, then the Vikings.
You can get back on the winning train against the Jags.
I mean, it's an opportunity. Like that's a game we can win. Will we? We don't know. And then we got the Vikings, who are
that's gonna be the Hawkins
with them.
That's gonna be the Hawkinson revenge game. Hawkinson's gonna go for like 170.
Vikings are 8-1. Like how? Like I don't even think they're that good though.
That game was so. I know I probably shouldn't say this as a Lions fan. That game was exciting at the end. That was exciting.
I didn't even see what happened.
Oh, dude.
Oh, I saw Jefferson catch, the one-handed catch.
The one-handed catch. They get all the way down to the 1-yard line. 4th down. Try to QB sneak it. They don't get it. Turnover on downs. Bills get it. All they got to do is get it out from the end zone so they can knee it and game's over. They fumble in the end zone.
Josh Allen fumbles it?
Or I don't know if it fumbled it or the center didn't get it there, but fumble, Vikings recover in the end zone, touchdown.
Touchdown, game over.
No. 3-point lead, Minnesota. Josh Allen drives the team down. They get a field goal to go to overtime. It was insane.
And then did Vikings get the ball and win immediately? Like how'd they end?
Vikings get the ball. I think they drove down. I think they get a field goal and then they basically stop the Bills.
Got it. Okay, so that's Vikings. Interesting. Then we play the Jets at the Jets, who are looking like they're 6-3. They're looking like the real deal.
I still think I would pick them if there's like if the Lions are still for the most part healthy. I'd pick Lions in that.
Sauce Gardner, rookie of the year.
Yeah, Jared Goff's gonna have a rough day that day.
Yep.
Wherever Sauce is, throw it the other way.
Other side.
Yeah.
And then we can get into the conversation of Salah versus Dan Campbell because we had Salah in town. Remember, we were talking to
Yeah.
him.
Well, that's gonna be the other thing that's gonna like. I really do want the Lions to really win against the Giants because if they don't, that's another scenario. That's another topic that's gonna come up is Dan Campbell versus Brian Dable. And just like, well, Brian Dable's off to this hot start, and Dan, like, yeah, but this roster sucks. It sucked last year. It sucks a little less this year, but it still sucks.
What, our roster?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Brian Dable inherited like I would love to have the Bear or the Giants defense right now.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Saquon
Dexter
Barkley.
Lawrence, Leonard Williams, Kayvon Thibodeau, like their linebackers are great. Like, yeah, I would take that. I mean, outside of a couple pieces, just because I would like to keep a couple of our own, but like for the most part, yeah,
Right.
give me that defense.
And then wrapping up our schedule, we play the Panthers at Carolina. And they're 3-7.
That's a win. That's a potential win. I don't care who the quarterback is.
Then we play the Bears at home. So
Nah.
we should be able to, I mean, depending, we'll see.
Hopefully we learn some things.
Right. And then we end the season with the Pack, who is 4-6 right now because they just beat Dallas. What? No,
Yeah.
that was in Green Bay, and that was annoying to see. I really wanted Dallas to win that game.
Yeah, I need Green Bay to like I need Aaron Rodgers to be emotionally destroyed going into that game for me to have faith that the Lions will win it.
Correct, because that's a game in which the Packers, I bet it's like Packers and us for the last, like even if it is close, like last wild card spot, and
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers has the ball with 1:45 left on the clock, and he's driving down the field. Like that.
Or even if it's not that, it's just like, oh yeah, you guys remember when I threw like 3 picks against you guys? Yeah, here's 6 touchdowns.
Right. Yeah, right. Like, dude. Right. Yeah. So that's that. So it is certainly an interesting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games left. So it is interesting.
I mean, it's good though to still have to have some optimism. I mean, it's 3 wins, but it's good to be like talking about this when there's still meaningful games on the schedule instead of like where we were last year this time.
Right. I mean, because of Hard Knocks and everything, like, I mean, we went from where I forget where we were at, like 6 wins this season to like, oh my God, they're gonna have 9 wins.
Yeah, I thought they could. I mean,
like 10 wins. I thought not. I mean, I don't think they get to 9, but if they can get to 7,
yeah, I still think if they get to 6, it's a huge win for Dan Campbell.
especially,
And I may even like still like give him a good pat on the back for 5. But if they can get to 6, like it's a good season for Dan Campbell.
because let's say the Panthers are a win, and then you said did you say the Jets?
I said the Jags for sure.
That's 2, so that gets us to 5.
I think the Jets I think they could definitely beat the Jets. So I think you can get 6.
Jets,
that
Bears,
would be
Packers. Like you could, like one of those 3, you could pull a win out, maybe.
yeah. One of those you got to gut out.
Interesting, interessante.
Well, again, and like it's nothing to write home about, but it's improvement. Like going back to one of the questions, right? It would give me faith in this rebuild. It would give me end of the season. I would have more faith in this coaching staff because I would sit back and say, okay, your defense struggled for the first half of the season. That's why you didn't win some of those other close games. I think so far they only have 1 blowout on the season, the Patriots game. Everything else has been relatively close, at least competitive.
Yeah, the Patriots game was a disaster.
So, like make these last 8 games, 7, 8 games, like make them count. Get some wins. Beat some of these, like beating the Giants would be huge, right? I would probably give this coaching staff a little more credit based on how it looks. As long as they look competent, as long as it's, quality football, like, yeah, I'd probably give this coaching staff a good pat on the back and be like, "Yo, this is a good notch in the belt."
Right.
Not
I
not
mean,
taking the foot off the pedal of like, still you still need to get 6, but it would make me feel better. Well, because like, I think that's like, to John's question, man,
what?
like, I'm at 6, like, you gotta get to 6, like, if we're not talking about getting to 6 wins, then, like, no, there's no pressure relieved.
There's not. No, there's actually more pressure. The pressure is actually building. I would say in response,
Oh my god.
yeah, the Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why
Well, there goes that undefeated season.
I kept looking over there. Um yeah, they pulled it out. It looked like they were beating the Eagles the whole second half. They were up.
Dude, it's like this was domination. This wasn't just like beating them, like,
They've I mean, they've won 4 of their last 5 games. Commanders.
yeah, that's with Tyler Heineke too. Like, it ain't like Carson Wentz beat you. You Jeez.
Yep.
All right, man. Well,
Okay,
anything
so
else?
yeah, no, I think that's it, man. Well, we got 3 wins on the season, right? So we've already tied last year's win total.
Yeah, which is good. Like, okay, cool. We know you can at least get 3 wins a year.
So
Let's see if you can get more than that.
a couple more. Let's see. Yeah, from here on out. Oh, so what I was gonna say was, I think the more like each game to me, I think they have less and less breathing room. Like if the pressure is mounting, they need to start showing results and making continue this move forward. So every game to me is important for them to I mean they need to improve like markedly. And to me that's more pressure. Pressure should mount. So they should have less and less and less breathing room. Not like more and more and more breathing room. Like they
Well,
should be.
yeah, because I don't know. Like, that's kind of why, like I said, I rolled my eyes at the question because
I
it's
know it's
like,
so funny.
yeah, if they lose bad, or if they lose to a team that we don't think they should lose to, we're going to be right back to where we were a
Right.
couple weeks ago about, should AG be fired? Should Dan Campbell be fired? Like, those topics haven't been put away. It's not like when people get ready for winter. Like, it ain't like nobody done put away like those topics and like, oh, we're not touching those until next season. Like, no, people have those like sitting right next to them, like as soon as
Ready to
soon
go.
as this team
Me pull
falters.
this out of the file cabinet. Yep.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, let me dust this off, and not even
Right.
gonna be
No,
dust
no,
on it.
dust
There's not
off.
even gonna
No,
be dust on it.
it's
Hmm.
right here on my table, ready to grab. Yeah, man. So I
Uh,
think that's it for today, bro.
yeah, man.
Okay, it's a good one.
I think so. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah. So again, yeah, thank you for listening in. Please like, follow, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Please hit that subscribe button on YouTube as well, and also don't forget to head over to questionabletees.com. We have some packages also for Pride of Detroit. We're donating some bundles for them for their November charity drive. And yeah, so head over there if you guys haven't heard them. Hit them up. They're great.
Also, if you are a fan of our Rodrigo piece, we will actually have that piece available at Pro Sports Zone in December.
In store December 2nd.
Yeah. As we get closer to the date, we'll start leaving some information. But again, it's a great opportunity for you guys to go out, get some of our apparel. We're really excited to be able to get our apparel in a store. A Rodrigo signing will be happening that day, so you can actually get the shirt and get it signed same day. So
Yeah.
it's
And
a really cool opportunity.
we upgraded them. They got metallic silver on them, all fancy now. We getting
T
fancy, Miko. We getting fancy.
T-shirts
Hoodies
and
and tees.
hoodies,
Yeah.
hoodies and tees. So if you
Yeah,
want a
get your
hoodie,
hoodie. It's time. Hoodie
you
season.
you can get one actually at the event. They will be available on our website in hoodie form after the event. We want to give people an opportunity to go to the store and actually go out and get these in
Yeah, but
store
these
first.
are limited run in store. Like
Yeah,
these are limited 150 pieces in this store. This is this one run. So yeah, these
yeah.
special metallic silver. Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah, they look really, really good. I don't know. Maybe Scotty and I will wear ours next week so you guys can kind of
Ew.
get a glimpse of them. But yeah, man, I think that's about it
All right,
for the
man. Yeah.
announcement.
So head over to Questionable Tees. Thanks for listening in. I want to thank my family. I want to thank the crew. Meko, I want to thank you. Shout out to Gian and the ladies over there on the West Coast. And yeah, hope all's well there. Yeah, Meko.
Yeah, gotta thank you guys, gotta thank my wife, gotta thank my girls. Shout out to Gian. Missed you on the show. Appreciate the questions though. Can't wait to debate you in the group chat. um, and then yeah, again, a huge shout out to all of you guys that support us. Huge shout out to Luke, who's been a huge supporter of us. Huge shout out to Pride Detroit. They've been really big supporters of ours as well, both from the podcast standpoint and the apparel side. So we're super excited. Scotty and I have some, and Gian, we have some really cool things planned for you guys in 2023. Maybe we'll talk about it some more in December, but from the podcast side, the apparel side, like a lot of cool things coming in 2023. And we're really excited to kind of kick the year off in a big way.
Yeah, and shout out to Pro Sports Zone. And
Yeah,
John.
shout out, John and Pro Sports Zone again for this huge opportunity as well, because it is something that we are very excited about.
Yeah, we've been working hard to make something like this happen. So it's really great to see. So
yeah.
So all right, man. I think that's it.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
All right, you guys. Have a great rest of your week. This is the Questionable Podcast out.